My name is Max. My world is fire and blood. So Furiosa was finally released, guys, and I'm glad to finally be able to see it. It's been 9 years since Fury Road came out, and for those of you who don't know, Fury Road is my favorite movie of the past decade, so I was glad to finally get that chance. So I saw Furiosa on opening night. That was Friday the 24th. I went to see it with a couple of friends, and I ended up breaking one of my rules, which is to see the trailer for it. I saw the trailer when I went to see Kong and Godzilla, The New Empire, so I couldn't sort of look away from the screen. So I saw the trailer, and one of the things that I noticed about Furiosa in the trailer was that there's a lot more green screen. There's a lot more CGI. One of the things that made Fury Road so good, of course, was that whatever CGI there was quite often was difficult to make out. There are some very obvious times in Fury Road that you could tell that there was CGI being used, but not so much really green screen. That's not the case with Furiosa. The green screen is really, really noticeable. I didn't notice any in Fury Road whatsoever, and I have to say that immediately colored my view of the movie. The truth of the matter is that when you're comparing something like Fury Road to Furiosa, they're two quite different looking movies. I would say that the green screen is quite noticeable, so just sort of temper your expectations on something like that. It might bother you much less than it does bother me. And I should mention that the two friends that I went to see the movie with definitely enjoyed it more than I did. I think I mentioned about halfway through the film, I said this has got nothing on Fury Road, but overall the movie was I would say it was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. I just think that I had such high expectations after seeing Fury Road, and having waited so long just for this movie or some Mad Max property to come out that was connected to Fury Road in some way. So this is a bit more of sort of a slow burn, I'd say. There's a lot more sort of downtime, a lot more dialogue, a lot of symbolism in this film as well. But I don't really want to get into that here because there's so much to talk about that, especially if you like your history. But in Furiosa, there was some action. By the way, there was a fair bit of action. I'd say that the largest set piece was the sort of 20 to 30 minute action sequence with the war rig, and it's this shiny and chrome huge war rig being driven by Praetorian Jack. And Furiosa is I don't know that she was actually even meant to be there on that war rig, but it's really kind of the way that she ends up making her name and becoming a Praetorian herself. She meets her mentor, Praetorian Jack, I think played by Tom Burke. And I mean, it's a good action sequence. You've got war boys, you've got men assaulting the war rig in a car, on a motorbike, and even from the air, which is quite imaginative. One of the things that I love about Mad Max is how they kind of dream up how you would end up going to war in that kind of future where resources are limited and you kind of have to make do with whatever it is that you've got. So for me, if it's not clear for what I'm saying, this movie was just not, it just wasn't as good as Fury Road as far as I'm concerned. In terms of the visuals, I found the visuals in Fury Road much more striking. That kind of orange yellow that you see during the day, in the chase sequences and the action sequences, and that kind of nice dark blue at night, the contrast of that. You sort of have that in this movie, but the colors are a little bit they're not so intense as that kind of fiery orange during the day and that nice dark blue at night. So I think first off, the movie doesn't look as good as I've mentioned, the sort of green screen sequences, though there are plenty of practical action shots as well. I'd say I was glad to hear that Tom Holkenberg or Junkie XL was doing the soundtrack for this movie, and you can hear a lot of the same sort of motifs from the Fury Road soundtrack if you've listened to that soundtrack, especially the kind of stuff that you'd heard from tracks like Chapter Doof, I think, and Bud Bag and a couple of others. But overall, it's these kind of motifs that you hear throughout, but I would say that there was no track in the movie that really jumped out at me and grabbed me. And I would say absolutely the same about the movie as a whole. Some movies just, and there's no other way that I can put it, they just grab me. The story immediately has gotten hold of my attention and I can't look away. There was somebody recently that I was watching on YouTube that was talking about Furiosa. It might have been Mark Kermode, actually. I don't know if he's still doing reviews for the BBC or if he's kind of set out on his own, but I think one of the things he said was that the move, that Fury Road he was talking about, that the action was just like a little bit too much. It leaves you kind of exhausted. And the thing about Fury Road is that was exactly the reason that I loved it. Those moments when you've got just a few minutes between action sequences to kind of recover and take a break, take a breather, and at the same time learn a bit more about the characters. That, hey, it's just a bit too much action, I think was perfect. I think a little bit more and it would have been too much, but I thought that like hammering away at your audience's nervous system was exactly what I was looking for, and that's the reason why, for me at least, Fury Road is my favorite movie of the past decade. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with Furiosa. I think that there were some things that I liked about it. As I said, the war rig, that sequence, that action scene was pretty good. Chris Hemsworth does a really great job as Dr. Dementus, starting out as this kind of religious figure. It's very interesting seeing him with a sort of a white headscarf, and he's, in many ways, he's like Morton Joe in that he has that kind of religious authority. He's making promises to people, and yeah, as I said, there's a little bit of similarism there about Red Dementus and some other stuff, but of course, I will link my other video, which I'm going to make on that particular topic. But overall, I would say it's probably good to go see the movie. As I said, I'm pretty harsh. I'm quite difficult to please. The reviews overall, I think, have been really positive, and I think most people are enjoying the movie. And as I said, my two friends that I went with certainly enjoyed the movie more than I did. It probably is a little bit too long, I think. You know, at the end of the day, they're two different actresses, but Anya Taylor-Joy and Charlize Theron as Furiosa. They're two very different Furiosas. They look very different. I think that Anya Taylor-Joy in this movie, of course, is a lot smaller than the much older Furiosa that you see in Fury Road. And there's probably still a few steps between the Furiosa that we see in Fury Road and the one that we see in Furiosa. You don't see that sort of, you don't see her become the Imperator, you know, meaning victorious general in Latin. So I'm glad to have seen the movie. I think, you know, by the way, this movie has been marketed to hell. I've seen lots of adverts on buses here. I've seen lots of adverts at bus stops. And I've seen a number of adverts on Reddit as well. So we'll see how this does. I think this probably cost a bit less than Fury Road, but the production of Fury Road was an absolute mess. So, you know, they're certainly promoting this, marketing this as the big summer blockbuster. I don't know what other movies it's going to be up against. I think Garfield is out at the moment, so we'll see how that does. But I would say that if there's one thing that this movie has done more than anything else, it has showed me how much I really want to see a sequel to Fury Road. So that's the reason that I actually hope that this movie does well. And there's a number of reasons why we might not see a sequel to Fury Road. Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, the stars of Fury Road, did not get together on set, and the production of that movie was an absolute shit show. George Miller, of course, is getting a bit older as well, and shooting in the desert, particularly the way you did it with Fury Road with no green screen. That's quite a difficult movie and expensive movie to make, particularly given that Fury Road might not have made a profit, given how you're dealing with that Hollywood accounting. Having said that, that was what I thought about Furiosa. I'm going to make another video, as I said, about the kind of symbolism, historical symbolism in Furiosa, and I'm also going to link the 2 videos I've got already on Fury Road, so I'll put them here and here. So I hope you liked my video and my review on Furiosa, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think that I was too harsh? Do you think, is there something about Furiosa that I'm not getting? If you liked it more, if you didn't like it so much, drop us a comment and let us know what you think. Beyond that, I wish you a good day. Thanks very much for watching. See you guys.